everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk About the Real Shit. You have Naomi here in the house and my partner in crime.
Hey, peeps, it's Lori, and you get my raspy, sexy voice tonight.
Yeah, she's recovering from being ill. Man, I hate this time of year. When I do my ride share, I make everybody sit in the back.
Do you have sanitizer in there for everybody to sanitize their hands?
No, I don't.
You should.
But I do make them sit in the back. And if I can tell that they've been sick, I do a cleaning afterwards.
We're going to hook you up with some hand sanitizer back there. Necessary.
Anyway, I don't want anybody touching anything they don't need to be touching. Anyways, so don't get me sick. We actually have a friend of Lori's in the house tonight with us. We have a really special guest. We're super excited to have him. It's Ricky Varnado. Hi, Ricky.
Hello, ladies. How you doing?
We're great. Thanks for coming, Ricky.
You're welcome.
Yeah, she has told me a lot about you. I'm very excited. Well, because she knows that my husband does music. He's a producer, and that I'm the producer's wife and used to be a DJ. So she knows that we're very, very into music, and so she's like, "You can't wait for you to meet Ricky." Yes. Anyway, so we tonight are going to be talking about music. We're going to be nerding out on that, which is always one of my favorite subjects. So before we get started with that, though, we are going to start with Lori's badass thought of the day.
All right, here's what I've got for you today. Help is always around us. Sometimes receiving it is simply a matter of looking at it differently or not giving up so easily.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hard to ask for help. It's hard to delegate.
And it's hard for us to get out of our normal mindset and maybe look outside of ourselves at what answer might be coming to us because we're just kind of stuck in our rut.
Yeah.
Right?
It's easy to do, especially in the season that we're in right now.
We're in the rut season right now.
How have you been feeling, Ricky? It's actually been sunny, but it's been pretty cold.
No, I've been feeling good. I mean, usually this time of year, I normally get sick every now and then, but I'm thankful that haven't happened.
Lori's looking at Lori. We're both like... Yeah, I made sure that she wasn't contagious before. Otherwise, we would have rescheduled.
I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah.
We love you.
Thank you. Send me your love.
Yes. Yeah, totally. You didn't ask for help for the last 3 days, so.
I've been a single parent for so long. I don't even know how to ask for help when I'm sick. You just power through, man.
Yeah, that's what really good neighbors are for.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah, she's actually...
You might regret that statement.
So, Ricky, Lori was telling me that you just got back from a music tour. Tell me a little bit about what that music tour was.
Yeah, that was a music tour over in New Zealand and Australia.
Oh, cool.
That was back in March. We were there for 2 weeks, me and my brother and another group called the Rec Squad.
So what's the name of your group, your band?
Varnado Brothers.
Oh, cool.
And that's who? You
Me and my brother Rio.
Awesome.
Is Rio the one that has the ribs?
Yes.
In Portland?
Yes.
Because it just reopened about, a year ago? And
it's recently been back open about a year now, and it's doing really well.
We have to stop in there and get some Rios. I've been talking about it for a year.
and it closed down because of a fire, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ricky?
And they caught the guy. It was a homeless guy that had bursted one of the windows and poured some flammable liquid inside and set it on fire, and it gutted the inside. So it took like a year for them to rebuild everything. Everything is new inside now. It looks much better than it was before.
Yeah.
Well,
it looks gorgeous on the outside. I mean, I was watching the whole construction while I was out driving. So, yay, we'll have to stop in there. So what do you got? What kind of music do you guys sing?
Well, my brother and I, we actually do contemporary gospel music. It sounds a lot like funk and R&B, but it's gospel.
I love it.
Yes.
I love me some good gospel. You going to bust out a little song for me?
Well, you never know.
Oh, good. Oh, you heard it. So what is your inspiration for music?
Oh God, I've just been inspired by so many great bands and singers throughout my life, like Earth, Wind and Fire, and Confunction, Cameo, the Daz Band, Frankie Beverly and Mays, the Stylistics, the OJs. I mean, throughout those years, the Brothers Johnson, Larry Graham. I mean, I've listened to all of those artists from years ago as I was growing up back in the 70s, and that was a big inspiration to me to just really get me more involved in wanting to play.
So, Ricky, how old were you when you first started playing music or singing? Or what started? Was it an instrument or was it vocals that started you in music?
Well, actually, my brother, they call him Nudie because when he was a kid, he would take off all of his clothes running around naked. So he even used that name on Facebook, Nudie Varnado. His real name is Clyde. He lives in Mannheim, Germany. No, Kaiserslautern, Germany. His kids live in Mannheim. Sorry. But anyway, he was the one that talked me into playing an instrument. I started out as an artist sketching pictures when I was 5 years old.
Really?
And that's all I ever wanted to do. And I was one of the best artists at my high school. So my parents always had a piano at home in the living room back in our hometown in Magnolia, Mississippi. And I actually have an older brother and sister. They both have degrees in music. I would always watch them play. I was always fascinated by that. And my brother Rio, he started singing when he was 3 years old, and he was singing in other gospel groups throughout that period of time. And I would always go to their rehearsals and watch them perform and play. And I was always fascinated by watching them, wondering, God, how do you guys do this? You know, it was just fascinating to me to see this, but I was really never interested in playing. All I wanted to do was sketch pictures.
Really?
So, yes. And my mom, she sang in church, and my father played piano, but he would only play after he would have a few drinks. And my uncle, Charlie, he lived in Chicago. He played piano. He actually played for Sam Cooke when he was alive back in the 60s. Wow. I mean, my whole family just have always been into music, but I was just never really inspired until my brother Nudie talked me into playing. My mom, she didn't really like a lot of noise around the house, so she would always go fishing on the weekends with her friends. They would leave early on Saturday morning, about 3:30 in the morning, going to Natchez, Mississippi, to the Mississippi River, and then another lake called Lake Mary. So that would give us a chance to just experiment with music at home. My brother would always jump on the piano. My parents have always had a piano in the living room since I was a kid, but my brother, Nudie, he would just always bang on the piano. He said, let's start a band. We had a half-brother, Tommy, that lived down the street from us, and he would always be over at our house. And he said, let's start a band. I said, I don't know how to play an instrument. He said, well, you could at least give it a try. So I had an aunt that lived down the street from us, my father's sister. She had 2 acoustic guitars that she had given to me and my brother Tommy. So when we got the guitars, we were trying to decide, well, who was going to play bass and who was going to play rhythm guitar. I said, well, I like the sound of bass. I'd rather play that. So I took 2 strings off of my acoustic guitar and left 4 on there like a bass. I didn't know what I was doing, but we would just make a lot of noise in the living room. But what was so interesting, my brother Nudie, he would record everything that we do to see how we would progress along the way. And we were just making up a lot of noise the whole time to know what we were doing. So my brother, he was 3 years older than me, and he had graduated from high school in 1977, and he went into the military. And he said, Rick, once I stay in there for a while, and get some money together, I'm going to buy you a bass. So I thought he was kidding. So 6 months later, the UPS truck pulled up in my parents' driveway, and I see this long box the guy had take out, and it was a brand new bass guitar.
Oh, my
God. It's like, I was just fascinated. I opened it up, and I didn't know how to tune it. It was a sunburst color. It was actually a copy of a Fender Jazz bass. Very beautiful. And I didn't know how to tune it. I really didn't know how to play. So this was at the age
and this is also when we didn't have the
How old were you?
Google. Like we didn't have the iPhones when this was going
Or
on.
YouTube.
I was at the age of 15, and me and my brother Tommy, we both started playing. I still remember the date. It was February 22nd of 1978. That's when we both started playing instruments. So when I finished high school in 1980, I went into college. I had a grant to go to college, and I went in as a music major. So I wanted to just take bass lessons in college, but the teachers told me in order for me to be a music major, I had to have piano as a requirement to be a music major. I said, well, that won't hurt. I mean, we have a piano at home, so I could just split my time practicing on both instruments. Yeah, so I went in as a music major, and I started my lessons. And then I had two friends, one named Dwight Morton. He had passed away a few years ago. Bless his soul.
Yeah.
And I had another friend named Jerry Nunnery. They both played bass guitars. Dwight had been playing for 8 years at the time, and Jerry had been playing for 6 years. So I would go to both of them for lessons, and they were showing me some blues and R&B patterns. So that's all I needed was to get started, learn how to tune it, and just learn some patterns to get started from there. And then plus I was learning in college at the same time, because I felt that music theory was very helpful. I always wanted to know what I was doing with music because you never know who you're going to play for someday as you get better. And to know the theory behind it, they can call out keys and patterns to play, and I would know what I was doing from there, by going to college for it. Yeah, so I would just start practicing, and my mom, she would have to make me go to sleep at night. I had a stereo system in my room, and I would try and practice with every song that came on until I got it down note for note. And I would practice at least 5 and 6 hours every night, nonstop. And my mom would have to make me go to sleep at night. That's how bad I wanted to play. And a lot of times I would just fall asleep on my back with my guitar on top of me, and she would have to come and take it away and put it away for me and make me get under the covers and go to sleep. Yeah, so that's how bad I wanted to play. And then actually I played much better than the two guys that taught me because I was practicing all the time.
Right.
And I guess they didn't practice as much as I did.
You had a passion for it.
Yeah, and I just had a passion for it. I just wanted to play so bad. And then my brother Rio, he was in a gospel group called the Heavenly Echoes. So he wanted to start his own group. So he started it with us. And my brother Tommy and my friend Michael Harrell, they both played rhythm guitar. So what I would do, I was teaching them what I was learning in college so we could sort of stay up at the same level with each other.
The theory?
Yeah, the theory learning, and all. Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
So what I did, I had them to buy chord encyclopedias for guitar. It had all the picture diagrams of every chord. And that way I could tell them what chords to play for whatever songs that we were putting together, original songs. And then everything just worked out perfect where it matched up.
Wow.
Okay, so you went from the sketching artist to this is what I'm learning at college and teaching your family what you're learning as you're learning and growing. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, it was great. And then we had a lot of property back at home. My father had 35 acres of land, and then he had a friend named Mac McKay. He had a lot of land with cattle, and he had this small house on his land that he had given to my father. So my father had it moved onto our property. And at the time, I was also, I had 2 years of building trades in high school as well. So me and my cousin, he had been a carpenter for like over 30 years. My father wanted us to enlarge the house and make it a lot bigger. So since I had gone to school for building trades to help my cousin enlarge the house and make it a lot bigger. So my father, he let us use the house to practice in. So me and my brother Rio and Tommy, we had put the gospel group together. So we went out and got money together and bought all of this, a whole PA system. And we moved into the house and we hooked up everything. And we just left it all set up. So all we had to do is just come in and plug in and start practicing, and we got really good at playing together. And I was writing a lot of songs, me and my brother Tommy, and then I would teach the songs. Because in college I had music history, music theory, sight singing, and ear training. I had bass guitar and keyboards, so they taught me also how to arrange harmony parts for backup singers. So yes, I learned all of this in school, and it was very helpful with the group where I can teach them all the parts for whatever songs that we were writing and putting together. And we had gotten so good where a lot of the promoters in that town, they would get our group. The name of the group was called the Sensational Varnado Brothers. And at the time, some of the promoters would hear us when we would play like at anniversaries, where a lot of gospel groups would have anniversaries, and they would invite different groups to come and sing on those shows. So a lot of the promoters that had heard about us, they started having us open up for major gospel groups. And that really expanded my music ability to learn much more, because a lot of the groups that we would play for, they were really big time groups, and we would be backstage together. And I would ask those guys to show us something on our instruments, so we can just take that in and apply it to what we already knew. Mm-hmm. And it was just a learning process the whole time.
To grow, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then a lot of times whenever we wasn't performing, I would go to a lot of major concerts, and I would try to sit as close as possible to the stage, and whatever musician that played the instruments that I played, I would just zoom in and just watch everything they done, and I would just take all of this in. And what was fascinating was to see somebody play the instrument that you play, and they played it really well. So that really motivated me to go home and practice harder, to see what could be done on that instrument by seeing what someone else that was doing.
Yeah.
That was doing it much better than me. And me, myself, I was never jealous of people that played better than me, because I've ran across a lot of other musicians that have been jealous of someone playing better than them. And I would tell them, I said, look, in order for you to learn, it's better to be around somebody that's better than you at this, because you have to realize that anything that you do in life, someone was already doing it before you. Right. And if you want to get really good at it, those are the people that you want to surround yourself with.
Mentoring.
Yes.
Mentoring and taking yourself to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the way I like that.
Everybody's good at something different as well, So maybe in one thing, one person shines, and then in another. So you can learn from each other.
Yeah, and also in the Fine Arts Bill and at the college where I attended, they had 9 practice rooms with pianos, and all 9 rooms were any of the students could go into these rooms and practice, and people thought I had lost my mind at college because...
In what way, Ricky?
Well, we only had like a 30-minute lunch break each day, and then there was this man-made pond that separates the Fine Arts Building from the cafeteria with a bridge that goes across. So whenever the lunch break come around, I would run across this bridge to the cafeteria, and I would always order like a foot-long hot dog and fries and a soda, and I would eat real fast and run right back across and go right back to practicing again. And people say, what's wrong with these guys? Like, he's just fascinated with just playing instruments.
Passionate.
Yeah. So,
so do you think that became like music is really, it found you, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. And then another thing that was helpful also, in my music history class, we had to listen to classical music for a whole year during the time I was there. Every day, the teacher would have these albums with Beethoven, Felix Mendelssohn, Mozart, Chopin, just all of these composers from back in the 1700s and 1800s. We had to listen to this music every day, and I was saying to myself, what in the world can I learn from listening to this? And then one day it's like a light just went off in my head. I said, God, I see what it does. It teaches me how to orchestrate songs.
Right.
Because what happened, even though I could hear the whole song in one piece, just listening to the music, I was able to dissect the song in my mind to see what all the instruments was doing within the song. And I can block out certain instruments and see what the strings was doing, the bass, cellos, horns. Even though I hear it all, I could just separate all of that in my mind to see what each instrument was doing. So now when I write my own songs and produce my own music, I know how to orchestrate my songs where it sounds like a big production just from learning that technique in school. And then another thing that was helpful too in my music class with Mr. Whittington, one thing that stuck in my mind, he said, if you can memorize all of your chords in music, like on piano, you can basically play almost any song that you hear. So that's what I started concentrating on. I bought me a chord encyclopedia with picture diagrams of all of the chords and inversions for piano. It had the pictures and it showed all the fingering positions for each chord. So that's what I started concentrating on, learning all of the chords in every key, and just like, for instance, C major, minor, diminished, augmented, minor 7, major 7, 11, suspended chords. I started memorizing what each one of those chords sound like and just kept it in my mind. But I learned all of those chords in every key. So whenever I would hear songs, on radio or just out listen to a band play, I could recognize what those chords are from just hearing the song played. I said, that's a minor 7 chord, a major 7.
Wow.
And then when I go to an instrument, all I need to do is just find out what key is in, and I can just easily just pick up and play the song just from knowing what chords are being played by listening to it and memorizing the technique that my teacher taught me.
See, kids, your hard work pays off.
Yes.
It takes a lot of work, though.
Yes.
It takes time. It's not an overnight
and passion
thing.
and energy and dedication and tenacity. And
I know I live with one.
Right? All of those words.
Yeah. You can't stop learning. That's the thing is that you can't stop learning. You're still learning.
Yeah, it's always something new to learn in music, regardless of how many years you play. It's always something new. Like right now, even though I've been playing for these many years, I usually just practice over a lot of difficult patterns, to try to get that down and incorporate it into my style of playing, something that was very hard to play. I just practice until I get it down and then just add it into what I already know.
Yeah. So that actually leads into this question that I wanted to ask you. I'm like in my 40s. I feel like I have a pretty well trained ear. I do know what happens behind the scenes because of my husband. So it's hard to impress me with some of this new music, but I wanted to ask you what you thought of the music that the kids these days are making.
Well, to be honest, a lot of it is really not real music. I mean, from what I see, some guys, they go in the studios and like the software program has a lot of loops of music that you can drag over into the middle and attach to it and make songs from there. And that's what a lot of these rappers are doing. I mean, there's some that really don't know how to play that well, but all of that stuff is offered in those music software programs where, and all the auto-tune.
Yeah, that's the thing is I see him auto-tune all the time. And so until I've seen you sing it in person, in that microphone or over here, it's hard to be impressed. It's not everybody can carry a note.
Yeah, exactly.
You may look pretty,
I've seen it. I mean, a lot of people use auto-tune that the ones that may not be able to sing as well, they use it to cover for themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I think that one of my favorite new ones that is pretty unique to themselves, or I think that they've made a good sound for themselves, but I think that they're phenomenal songwriters, and that's Mumford and Sons. I just love their lyrics. They do really well. Yeah. So there's some new stuff that's, I think coming
Mumford
out.
and Sons has some of that gospel.
Well, they have that bluegrass.
Southern,
it's the bluegrass.
The southern folky.
Mm-hmm. It's like
roots
the banjo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
They come from good stock.
Yeah. And I've also listened to all types of music, all different styles, because there's always something that you can take away from any style of music and to incorporate it into your own style. So I've played with rock bands, jazz, R&B, gospel, just all those styles. I mean, it's always something that you can take away from any of those styles to better yourself as a musician.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're always learning. The sharing of the minds too makes the greatest music. So where are you at with your career now? What do you got on your plate now with your music?
Well, I've been doing a lot of gigs with Hit Machine. You know why? I'm still learning my music software and stuff, but I'm actually recording a lot of my own original songs at home. I mean, for years my brother and I have gone to other studios and had to pay about an hour to record at other studios. And I told my brother, I said, since we got this big house now, we should just go on and buy everything that we need and have our own recording studio. And that way we can take our time and work on songs the way we want without having to worry about paying by the hour, and we can get everything perfected the way we want before we put it out.
So when's your first album coming out, Ricky?
Well, I do have a Christmas CD already out. I put it out.
Oh, we want it.
Perfect timing.
I put it out 2 years ago, and it's on this company called CD Baby. It's actually here in Portland over off of Airport Way. I mean, and it goes to all of the internet stores. It's on YouTube, Amazon, all of those major sites is on all of those.
Really?
Yeah.
So Ricky Varnado, is that, or Varnado, that would be what it would be under the YouTube?
Yeah, the name of the CD is called Christmas Classics.
Okay.
And there's 8 songs, all instrumental
we'll post
songs.
one on our social media tomorrow.
Right. Well,
yeah, they're all.
right.
Yeah, they're all on there, and
he's got a great vibrato. I just have to say, I've heard it personally.
Thank you so much. Well, me myself, I'm looking forward to having something out by January of next year. I mean, I've already have almost all of the gospel songs completed now that I've started recording original stuff.
That'll be neat to hear your original stuff.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Sweet. So where do you sing your gospel? Where do you go to church? Is that where?
Oh yeah.
Are you singing every week still?
Oh not every week. I mean, we've played at some churches around, and then we've played like major auditoriums and stuff. I mean, I've been almost all over the United States playing music throughout the years. I've played 45 states in the U.S. I've played in Canada and New Zealand and Australia.
Was that your first time over there?
Well, that was my first time in New Zealand and Australia. We were there for 2 weeks.
Which is not close, by the way.
No, so why don't you elaborate a little bit about that? What was that tour like for you?
Well, I must say, I've never seen that many cattle, sheep, and horses in my life.
Really?
In New Zealand. I mean, almost everybody over there have farms. And just everywhere you go, there's just cows, sheep, and horses. And it's a very beautiful place. Lots of mountains. It just looked like something out of a cartoon looking at all of this stuff, driving between all of these mountains. We had a driver that took us around to each venue. The first place that we performed was in New Plymouth, New Zealand, at a venue there. I have all of the pictures and video from all the places. So, and that was right by the Tasman Sea. You can actually walk to the sea from where we were playing. And it's very beautiful over there.
Wow.
I mean, we had a great time. And then the second city that we had gone to was Hamilton, New Zealand. And we played at a venue there as well. And then the last place after that we were in Auckland, New Zealand. And it's very big. It's just as big as Seattle. And they even have a Space Needle just like the one in Seattle.
Wow.
I think everybody thinks Lord of the Rings when they think New Zealand.
So, what style of music were you playing over there?
Oh, we were playing gospel music. My brother and I, we actually were doing some of the songs that's going to be coming out on our new CD.
And how was it received over there?
Oh, they loved it. Yeah, the people really loved it. And what was so weird, the other group that went with us, they were doing gangster rap music. So we were all on the same show together. Just like I told my brother, man, how is that going to work? I mean, we're doing gospel and then they're doing rap where they're cursing and saying all kinds of stuff. I said, God is going to punish us for this. For putting both together at the same time. But it worked out well. I mean, the people really liked what we were doing when we were there.
Good.
And then once we left from New Zealand, we flew to Brisbane, Australia. But my brother got sick. I mean, they had to send an ambulance to the airport.
What?
And pick up him, and I rode with him. He had pneumonia and the flu.
What?
So we didn't get a chance to play in Brisbane. The other group, they perform. But I was more concerned about my brother getting well, so I stayed with him the whole time. We had gone to the hospital, and they ran tests on him and gave him medications and everything. And then he was able to come home later on that afternoon, back to the hotel where we were staying. So I just stayed there the whole time. I didn't want to go to the venue where the group was playing because I was more concerned about his safety and wanted to make sure he was okay.
Yeah, of course.
That's kind of scary being overseas, having a loved one not feeling well.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And then we had to get travel insurance before we had gone over there. Thank God that came into play. Even one of the other members of the other group that had gone with us, the Rec Squad, he had gotten sick and had to go to the hospital as well for the flu.
Wow.
What's travel insurance?
Oh, yeah, that's something that you have to get for going in. Yeah, for when you go into other countries.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Is it like a one-time thing when you're going on a trip? Or?
Oh, yeah, it's a one-time thing when you go on a trip.
Oh, my goodness. I had no idea, guys.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. Cool. So when tell me about some different times when music has saved your life.
Oh, I think that's a tough one to answer. I mean, it have always have been uplifting and inspiring to me. You know, a lot of times when I'm feeling down and out, I can just always go to my bass guitar or keyboard.
So what's your go-to song, Ricky? When you're down and out, what's your go-to song?
Are you going to sing it?
Oh, God.
We all have our go-to songs.
Well, I liked a lot of Luther Vandross music. I mean, like Never Too Much, Super Lady. I mean, I learned a lot from then. Ain't We Funkin' Now by the Brothers Johnson. I mean, I first started out when I first started playing slap bass. That was actually one of the first groups that I started listening to because I was very inspired by the way Louis Johnson played bass. He was just killer playing funk. And I remember back in '79, after I had been playing for a year, I had just finished 11th grade, and my brother Varnado, Snoop's father, he got me a ticket to fly out to Long Beach, California to spend the summer. Oh, yeah. To spend the summer. They had a sister that lived there. She just passed away in June of this year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I stayed with her the whole time. And then my brother, Vernell, he worked for the post office in L.A. And then he had a friend. His last name was Healy. I know he had two sons named Ricky and Eddie Healy. And both of them were musicians. Eddie Healy played keyboards and Ricky Healy played bass. So my brother, he would pick me up and drive me to L.A. and drop me off at their house. They had a garage converted to a recording studio behind their house. So he would just leave me there the whole day while he was working at the post office, and I would just be there practicing with these guys. So Ricky Healy, he was really good at playing slap bass, and I only knew how to play fingerstyle at the time. I'd only been playing for a year at the time, so we was just trading off. He was showing me what to do to play slap, and it actually took me like a year before it began to sound the right way. I was hitting multiple strings at once instead of just one string at a time with my thumb. I had to learn to master that part right there where I wouldn't be hitting two strings at the same time. So I just spent my time practicing with these guys. They really inspired me and showed me a lot. And actually, Eddie Healy, the keyboard player, he scores movies now. I mean, I've seen some movies, and when all of the credits go up, I see his name on there and just show that he was the one that played all these songs in the movies. So I said, man, I used to practice with this guy. At least somebody made it big from there. Yeah, so that really helped me. And then when I had gone back to Mississippi after that summer, my friend Arthur Brooks, well, he died in a car accident. He was the one that had given me my first album by the Brothers Johnson. It was the Blam album with Ain't We Funkin' Now and Blam and all of these other songs on there, Mr. Cool. And all of those songs, it was just a lot of funky bass riffs. And that really inspired me. I said, God, I want to play like this guy so bad. And I would see videos on TV of the Brothers Johnson playing, and I would just see this guy just killing bass, and I would just practice as hard as ever, practicing these songs until I just finally got it down. And then people just began to notice my style of playing when I would play out in public. People would say, "Oh man, this guy is so good," and a lot of fans would just flock to our gospel shows, because our style of music was just funky, even though it was gospel music. And then we just had crowds of people showing up, and they would always just brag about me playing. And I had only been playing a few years, and I recorded my the first gospel album I recorded was out there my first year of playing bass. It was with a group called TJ Jordan and All Stars. The lead singer, TJ Jordan, I was dating his daughter when I was in high school. So she had told her father about me playing bass. And he heard me play, and he asked me would I go into the studio with him. They paid me to play all 8 songs on their album. It was in a studio called Harold's Audio Recording in Brookhaven, Mississippi. So we had gone up there that Saturday morning and spent the whole day in the studio until we completed all 8 songs. And I actually still have that album at home because that was my first recording that I had done.
Awesome.
Wow.
And then,
on vinyl?
Oh, yeah, it was on vinyl. And then the gospel group that we had started, the Varnado brothers, we recorded our first 45 in May of 1980.
Nice.
And I still have that recording at home. It's called Going to a Place and Lord, I Need You Right Now.
Cool.
And our school turned out for the summer. I was actually in the 12th grade, and later on in the month of May, the school wanted us to perform inside of the auditorium. And there was all these people that had gone to school with me. It was like over 700 or 800 people. The whole auditorium was full, and I've never been so nervous in my life. I mean, we were behind the curtains, and we can hear all these people screaming out there.
Yeah.
And this was like one of the biggest crowds that I had played in front of. And I actually fell to my knees. I was just so weak I could barely stand. My brother Rio said, "Get out, man. They get ready to open the curtains." I said, "I don't know whether I can make it through this or not." And as soon as they opened the curtains, everybody, I could just hear, they were just screaming our names. And it's like once we got into the songs, I began to feel more comfortable where I didn't feel as nervous anymore.
Yeah.
But my brother would take our group to a lot of churches to play gigs, and all of these people just facing us out on the pews. I was so afraid to make mistakes because like everybody's just looking right at everything that you do, and I was just so afraid. But even though we made mistakes, you still have to just go
You have to
through
keep
it
going,
and keep going.
And learning through
Yeah,
it,
you're
right?
learning through it.
Learning through your fear.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
had some
you,
fun.
Ricky.
Hey, what was so funny, my brother Tommy that played guitar, we had got done playing a gospel show at a church, and he was walking by the drum set, and the tuners on the front of the bass drums. One of them had caught his pant leg, and it just tripped him and threw him flat out on the floor. And we never laughed so much. Everybody in the church was laughing. I had to laugh too. I mean, there's a lot of funny stuff that we've had experienced also along the way.
Yeah.
But it was still a learning experience along the way as well.
So you tripped during the performance?
No, right after we had got done, we were leaving the stage,
okay.
and the tuner on the bass drum.
So everybody was still right there. Nice. Any other crazy stories?
Oh yes, I mean, I remember being at a church called Joan Chapel out near this community called Sherman, outside of our hometown in Magnolia, Mississippi. And this church, they didn't have any air conditioners in the church, so all of the windows, they would raise the windows up to let air come in from the outside. And there was animals walking the street. There was mules, chickens, goats, all of this stuff that's just walking freely out in the middle of the street. And then we were performing inside of this church. It was full of people, and they had these fans plugged in to create an airflow.
Oh no!
And we were up there performing.
You know what's coming.
And there was a mule who stuck his head through the window and just, and all of us, I fell to the floor. It was so funny. Everybody in church was laughing. It's like the mule just wouldn't stop. He put his head through the window and was looking. And we had to stop playing. And I was just down because we were just basically laughing at anything. And I remember being out in Franklin County, out near Woodville, Mississippi, at an anniversary. And I remember a guy let me play his bass at an anniversary there. There was a lot of groups there. And what was so funny, the guy, his bass guitar didn't have a bridge on it. He had one of these orange rollers that women put in their hair with the strings running across it. And he used that to make a bridge. And it's like, it was so funny. I was playing and then laughing at the same time. Because some people just rig up stuff. And we were at another church called Zion Hill. And I was playing through somebody else's amplifier, and his amplifier just started smoking. It was just smoke. It covered the whole group up there. And then there was a guy back there sitting in a chair with one of those church fans trying to fan the smoke down while we were playing it.
Oh, my God.
And I'm looking back. I'm hoping that the amplifier didn't catch on fire.
Oh, my goodness.
Or electrocute you, for that matter. Yeah. I think that Johnny Cash got electrocuted on the stage once.
So you experienced a lot of funny things, too, over the years of playing. I mean, you just never know what you're going to run into with each show that you do.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure. I mean, I don't play music or sing or anything. I used to be a DJ, but I hate showing up at all the gigs. I don't do it anymore. I do it for our 2 parties we throw a year over at our place. But that's about it.
Your parties.
But hey, music is it's saved my life. It's saved everybody that I know. It's brought me all the best people that I have, including my husband. We met in LA 15 years ago, and we were friends for 10 years before getting together. But music brought us together, and our dogs brought us together, though. I'm talking about Lori.
If it wasn't for our dogs, it would have been music, though, because music has always music has always been such a core part of my existence, too. I don't know how I would have survived without it, I've always, I've played an instrument since I was in 6th grade.
You did? You had enough money to take band?
I started with clarinet.
I never got to do band.
I started with clarinet, and I played clarinet from 6th grade to 10th, and then I went to oboe for our orchestral band, because not many people can play 2 reed instruments, so I'm pretty proud of that. Awesome. And I've also played percussion.
I had no idea.
Right? and
I got a bongo drum right there. And a drum set, actually.
That's more of a mini djembe, and I have a djembe custom made in Africa for Mamade Kita. His professional drum maker made my djembe for me. So,
and you want to learn harmonica too, huh?
I am learning harmonica.
Yeah, she is.
I am. I'm trying to learn blues harmonica. I want to blow that bitch out of the water.
I have a friend that loves to play it. She could probably show you a few things.
Right?
Yeah.
So music has always been, and my son's a drummer.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
He taught himself. I gave him drum lessons at a young age, but he's taken it way beyond that, and he taught himself guitar too. So kind of a self-taught, musician, great. And that's his core. That's his core. He's a mechanic by day, but he's a musician at heart. So
yeah, same.
Love you, Eli.
Yeah, I mean, I think my family was definitely all musical. My dad would play guitar and walk around with that harmonica thing, that the wire that goes around it's handless.
Yeah.
Hands-free harmonica, kids. So actually that makes me think of if if you want to give any advice in all of your hard work and your journey through music to these kids that are wanting to take that path, what would you say to them?
I would tell them to not be jealous. I mean, for one thing, don't be jealous of others that play better than them, even if they're just starting out. I mean, because the only way you're going to learn is to be around somebody that's much better. And then another thing that's very helpful that wasn't offered when I was coming up is all of the YouTube videos. I mean, a lot of young kids are learning to play a lot better at a younger age because they can pull up their favorite musician on YouTube and just watch everything up close, and you can just take in so much information from that. And that
so much information out there to learn.
Yeah, and none of that stuff was offered when I was coming up. I mean, I had to go to somebody that played to learn from them, or just be around somebody that played to learn compared to what's offered today.
How do you feel about inspiring those that have the musical soul within them to take that path? Because it's such a challenging road, and it's not one that's fiscally at your fingertips in the beginning for anybody, I don't think, unless you're born into a family that has, that kind of revenue and that kind of spotlight that you can kind of jump on your parents' bandwagon. How do you inspire the youth of America or the world to just like follow your heart, follow your passion?
Yeah, I would just tell them to just go out to like any public event, where they're able to get in, because some places you have to be a certain age to get in. But I mean, to just go around, places like that where they're having events with live performances and just watch others. I mean, that's very inspiring right there, to just watch somebody that have been doing it for a long time, and that would really inspire you to want to do it. That's if it's your passion to want to do that.
Do you have anybody that you mentor?
Oh, God. Well, I have taught some lessons over the years to people, even when I lived in Sacramento.
Well, it started when he was telling us earlier, when you come home from school and teach your family what you were learning.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And my brother and friend, they're still playing to this day. I mean, my brother, Tommy, he lives in Memphis, Tennessee. My friend Michael still lives in our hometown in Mississippi. But a lot of times we would call each other on FaceTime and would practice over the phone where we can see each other. I mean, a lot of times my brother, he would call me, and if there's songs that he wants to learn and want to know the chords to it, we could see each other and I can tell him what to play, and he gets it down right there.
Yeah.
A lot of times we just practice right over the phone, even though we're in different states.
Isn't that so great?
Yeah.
We have the technology to do that now. It's it makes it very personable. Like, I hang out with my brother and my little nephew all the time on FaceTime. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, but I've helped them out quite often, with if there's a song that he needs to learn for a gig that he have coming up and he need me to help him with him, I can tell him what chords. I say, oh, well, these are the chords to the song, and he can see what I'm doing right there with us looking at each other.
So we've talked about your past a lot. What are you doing presently musically?
Well, actually recording songs at home for the upcoming CD that we plan to release hopefully by January of next year. I'm almost done with the songs. And then there's another group called The Beyonds that my brother sings with as well.
The Beyonds?
Yeah. Yeah, they're a gospel group. And we actually have rehearsals tomorrow night. We usually rehearse every Wednesday night at one of the other singer's house, which he lives in the same neighborhood with us. Yeah, but I've done gigs with them. They already have a new CD out. But what we're doing, since it's just my brother and I, we have these guys singing backup on our songs that we're getting ready to release. I mean, I already have the songs like on CD where we can use those in rehearsals. And,
awesome.
And they sing backup on those songs when we play live somewhere. And then I play with them on their songs live, where we have a trade-off where we're both helping each other.
Yeah, it's such a good way to do it when you can help each other.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what do you think about the musical scene here in the Portland, Vancouver area?
Well, I mean, I wish they had a lot more venues to play. I mean, it's the only ones that around is like Billy's Blues and Cascade Bar, the Spring, and
the
Gemini.
Yeah, we know all the spots, don't we?
Yeah, we know all the spots.
Don't know any of them.
And Clyde's over off of 54th
I
in
haven't
Sandy.
been to Clyde's.
Oh yeah, they have R&B bands there every weekend. Yeah, I mean, but I wish there was much more places to play. And I mean, what I've noticed, there's a lot of places for rock music more than anything at a lot of the clubs around here. I mean,
so it's not a very diverse.
Yeah, it's not a very diverse.
Here.
For like funk and R&B stuff, but there's a lot of venues for rock music.
Yeah,
and blues
That's
as well.
That's unfortunate. I don't get out much. It all happens right here in the studio.
I'm out. I'm usually out all the time, like every week. I mean, I've been doing a lot of gigs, like I said, with Hit Machine. We're actually playing this Friday night out in Beaverton at Bleachers Sports Bar and Grill off of Barnes and Saltman Road.
Cool. Awesome. I look forward to hearing your voice.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that I'm the greatest singer. I'm a much better musician than singer.
Yeah.
I'll admit that
Ricky,
right up front.
You have a great voice. I've heard it.
Do you harmonize with your brother?
Oh, yeah. No, he's really a great singer because he's been doing it since he was 3. So
he's taking the lead on the singing and you're kind of taking the lead on the musical side?
Yeah. I mean, there's certain songs I could sing. You know, my voice is not as powerful as my brother. I'm thankful for what I can do, because we make it work together when it comes to recording. I can sing like a lot of the high points and he just have a really powerful voice.
Yeah. Cool.
But I can actually do all of the harmony parts in the studio. I can actually sit down in the studio and record all of the parts without even having any other musicians there. I know what to do when it comes to that.
My husband does that.
Yeah.
When he's all by himself, when I'm gone.
Yeah, because with the keyboards, it has like every instrument sound in there to use for producing stuff. So you can just play the saxophone and all these other guitar parts. It emulates all these other instruments.
Yeah, all through a keyboard.
Yeah, and if you know how to play it the right way, it's all in knowing how to play it like a string player or saxophone player, knowing how to play those parts when it comes to recording.
Yeah.
To make it fit the songs.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm a witness to it all the time because I'm around my husband. But yeah, there's a lot of programs out there, boy. Mm-hmm. Lots of ways you can. I mean, actually, there's no limits when it comes to music anymore.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have anything at your fingertips at this point.
Yes.
So, what's your vision for your future, Ricky?
Well, I'm praying and hoping that my brother and I can hit it big in gospel music. I mean, I've always wanted to just travel the world and spread my love of songs that I've recorded throughout the world. And I'm hoping that we would be able to travel all over the world and bless people with our songs.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful vision.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm just hoping to make that
Share
happen.
Your music.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you have a JOB outside of
yes, I drive for a trucking company called Javelin Logistics.
I have seen your truck. I drive for Lyft and Uber.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the soul-sucking JOB.
Oh, yeah.
But you're never going to get anywhere unless you put effort into the things that you're passionate about.
Right.
Exactly.
After the JOB, which is what we're all three doing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And that's what we're doing right here tonight, people. We're reaching outside of our comfort zone and outside of our JOB.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you so much, Ricky, for coming and telling us your story of your journey and your process. And like I said, you guys, we'll post some video. I'll find a video and post it. I tried posting the ghost picture today, but it kept crashing because I told a ghost story last week, and so we're trying to keep up on our social media. But we'll find that song for you, and we'll keep you in the loop as well when he comes out with his album.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And where are you playing again this weekend?
I'm playing at Bleachers Sports Bar and Grill on Barn and Saltman Road out in Beaverton.
On Saturday?
On Friday night.
On Friday night?
With Hit Machine?
Yes.
Like 7?
No, it's actually from 9 till 12.
Okay, 9 till 12. Awesome. All right, you guys heard it. You guys can, if you're in the Portland area or Beaverton area, no excuses. Try something new. Awesome. So before we go, we always like to share something that's happened to us this week, whether it's something positive or just something funny that's happened or some thought that you've had that was profound. So I will go first this week because so it's a flip-flop from the week before with my dad, but I, because of some of our past podcasts, I'm starting a new project, which is an indoor apartment garden. Like no shit. And little girl, like I lined it with plastic and I got all my pots in there and we're getting this light. We're getting it all done and constructed. So I have just felt happier this week because I've been thinking so much about my garden project and I've been thinking about how in the mornings when it's all gloomy in Portland and dark out, I can put my sunglasses on and turn on my new light and water on my garden that's growing. And I mean, it's a good way to start the day. I imagine that my mood will be improved. But we're making real progress on this garden, you guys. And just FYI, we are taking all video and pics of the progress and we'll be blogging about this project. So I'm just really excited. But yeah, that's what I've been really thinking a lot about this week. So, all right, Lori, you're next.
Oh, me.
Other than being sick.
Yeah, let's not go there. For me, this week has really been about trust and trusting things outside of myself and letting myself just believe in my visions and believe in the people that I'm working with and letting go and allowing God, the universe, divine love, whatever you want to call it, to guide my path and not to worry about all the other shit. Just let it go. Just let it go and follow my path and know and believe that the things that I'm supposed to do are going to be coming to me. So that's where I'm at this week.
Awesome. Yay. Awesome. Do you have anything to share? And we just spring it on them. We always do.
No, it's just all music for me. And I always put God first in my life as well, and I've always pray each and every day and night, for him to bless me with what I'm striving for in life and hoping that those things can come to pass. If it don't, it just wasn't meant for me, but
well, keep working hard.
Oh, yeah, I'm just going to work hard and never give up. I'm enjoying music and even on my job driving trucks every day. I listen to music all day long. I just plug my phone into the auxiliary input of the radio and just go on YouTube and just pull up songs and just be jamming the whole time I'm working. I mean, the music never stops. Yeah. It's always something inspiring to me where it keeps me motivated to want to play and learn more and record more.
Yeah. So it, like, all in all, how many years have you been in music?
Actually,
doing it?
42 years.
42 years.
Ricky.
Yes.
So my husband's been doing it for over 20. And from hearing your story tonight, you have worked your ass off. Oh, I live with a man who works his ass off. Oh, yeah. And so you guys, well done, and don't stop because it is a gift. And yes, some people aren't ready to hear it yet, but keep doing what you're doing, and it's not an overnight thing.
No,
and you never stop learning. And if it's something that you want to do, kids, then that's the reality of being in that industry.
Yes,
a lot of things happen. All right, everybody. Thank you again. Please visit our website, therealshit.net. Check out our 2 t-shirt campaigns that we have going on right now. We are really loving. We just got in some white female the trip shirts.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're really good.
They sparkle on the front.
And then, of course, our Be a Nice Hole t-shirt, which people have been really laughing about that one lately. So help us spread the word. You can subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and have a listen and share with your friends and have a wonderful day. And don't forget to